All right, so hi everyone. So this is What is Soaring Beyond Definition? I am Siris Rivas-Verdejo, and we just wanted to have a welcome to this new evolution of our group. In August, it was a year of the existence of our group. I think like August 17th around there was when we first created it in 2019. And man, it's been an amazing year. It's been an intense year. It's been an everything up, down, all around year. And I'm just so pleased that the group was providing a space, from what I've been hearing from people, for them to have a bit of a respite from the havoc and the crazy of the world, from the fear mongering and the trauma and drama, and also for it to be so inclusive of so many different modalities and languages. It seems to keep getting more and more multilingual, which I love. I was like, can we have like 100 languages? Can we be like the Africa or India of energetic awesomeness? Like that would be really cool. um, but there is also a lot of new people coming in all the time. Every week we have new people being added to the group. Thank you for those of you who have invited people to the group. It wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for all these people and all these new energies coming in all the time. And the last time I checked, I think we have about 30 different countries represented in our group. Definitely at least 10 different languages. We have translation available in French, Italian, and Spanish. I usually do my Spanglish of English and Spanish in there. And I think we've had Portuguese and Czech translated for a lot of our calls as well. So when there's the demand for it and there's enough people asking, I really try to make these calls available to you in the languages that you would like to have them in. So thanks for asking for that. And I just love having all the languages, so it's also fun for me. So this call is really just a check-in. Like, what would you like this next year to be like in the group? Right now we have weekly kind of playful prompts where I do a video and invite you to different things, or provide a replay of all the tasters that we've done. We've done tasters on Phantastical Theta healing, Shamanism, the living and dying body process, Symphony of Possibilities, astral projection. We've done family calls, we've done money calls, we've done business calls. So, and it was always when people asked for it, right? So what would you like to ask for now? And what can me and the Phantastical Creature crew give to you and contribute to you in your lives, in your bodies? So you can feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat. But I'd really like this next year to be even more of a contribution to you all, to creating more ease, for you to live more exuberantly, for you to be creating the relationships with your parties. Ooh, let's have a party. That's right. I have to remember that we're going to have a party. Okay, don't let me forget, crew. With each other, having relationships with your body and other people, if you'd like other people in your life, you know, what these little things like living on an island or not. Let me know what that would be like for you. And until you say something, and I'm checking the chat, I'm going to also just let you know of some things that you might not know about related to our group, and just the things that might be something that you'd like to add to your life. So we have, if you look in the videos tab of our Facebook group, so many videos. In a year, a lot of videos. And some of the online calls, we had them on Zoom, and then we would either pop the replays into the Playspace, or if you're in the email list, you would have gotten the list of all, the replays by email. If you're just joining the group now and you missed the replays, And you don't want to kind of go through the whole video tab of the play space. Hi, honey. I see you. I'll give you a link, and you might have already seen it in the starter guide. But basically, this link will give you once a week all of the replays that we've done in our play space. And so it just makes it really easy for you, and it'll go straight to your email address. And it'll give you a way for you to explore these different modalities, maybe get a different perspective on them that you might not have had before. So a lot of people come to our group and they've play already with energy in some way. For instance, they might have experiences with acupuncture, which, I consider it a type of energetic modality. I don't know if you agree with me. Or they've done chiropractic treatments. They do massage. They've played with shamanism. They've participated in access consciousness classes. Many of you know me from being a certified facilitator in the past, and now I continue to facilitate facelift, access bars, and access body process classes. Some of you know me from work with my children and family coaching and the speech and language pathology stuff. And you're like, well, you mean I can actually play with energy with my kids? Yes, you can. And for all of our classes, the kids are welcome. The kids love it when I swear. The parents, it's a mixed response. But I'm just myself with the kids, and without the kids being there, it doesn't really make a difference to me. And in the academy, all the kids are participating for free. So that's been really cool. But to get all the free tasters, here's the link for that. I have it in the chat. That's just a short bit.ly link, and that can be provided in the email that we'll be sending out with this audio replay. So yes, kids are welcome, and it's not just 15 and under, it's 18, and it's under 18. We really want to make this available to as many kids as possible. They help move the energy. They don't have as much of a point of view, or not holding on to things. I love their questions and enthusiasm, and there's even a video that I've created that you might have gotten a chance to check out, where it's all about how the kids can participate in the academy, but it also applies to how they can participate in any of our Phantastical Creature calls and classes. And so I'm going to also provide that link in the chat. And let me know if you know of any kids that would benefit from these energies. They're super tapped in, and they get it. They just get it. So here's the link for that one, y'all. There are also a lot of resources available to you, including each other. You're each other's great resource. I just love being a connector and kind of planting seeds and exploring these different energies with y'all. But please introduce yourself to each other. And, there's a lot of people I see in the UK. We have people, a big hub of folk in India, all over the United States, in every time zone. And so a lot of people with the upcoming Living and Dying Body Process class coming up, there's so many people interested in the class. And one of the biggest obstacles, and I hear all of you, is finding that other person to swap with. And if you let the people in the group know that you're looking for a partner, how much faster and easier might they show up, because they can know that you're interested, they can find you. So for those of you that are interested in the class, even if you already have a partner to swap with, go ahead and post your enthusiasm in our group and be like, hey, I'm so ready and excited to go for this class, and who else is joining me? And some of you that are on here have expressed an interest in the class and are looking for that partner. So let people know that you're looking. You can do that in our group, the Soaring Beyond Definition group, and you can do that in the event page on Facebook. So those are my recommendations related to that. We shifted from calling it a Phantastical Creature Playspace, and we were playing, and we were dabbling, and we were dancing, and we have a lot of art, and we have movement, and we have all these energetic modalities. And yes, translators, I know I'm talking fast, so I'm going to slow down. Sorry, I get excited. And after the second month of the Academy for the Seen and Unseen, which is the Ascension group, this membership group that we have as after you go into the foyer that is the Soaring Beyond Definition, well, the second month was all about soaring beyond delays, blocks, and the need for protection. And we changed so much energy that month that it wasn't congruent anymore to call it a Fantastical Creature Playspace. It was also, maybe for some of you, when you were considering joining the group, you're like, well, what's Fantastical Creature? And that for some of you, as much if it called to you, and notice how much I'm like stumbling and stuttering today. How much energy are we aware of here? I only start stuttering when there's a lot of charge or judgment. Judge away. So I'm just going to acknowledge that. So we decided to call it something different because we were really getting that people are asking to soar beyond all these delays in their lives, with their businesses, with their relationships now more than ever. They're done with all of these blocks and governments and institutions and educational entities that are trying to keep everyone separate. This freak out about needing to protect yourself all the time in all of these ways, and what's that creating with our bodies and how we would like to connect. All of that was addressed in that second month of the Academy for those that were brave enough to participate. And now we'd really like to invite everyone else, even if you're not in the Academy, to have that for the rest of the year and for however long this group keeps going. And so when I talk to the Academy participants and to my Fantastical Creature crew, and hopefully some of them will also introduce themselves that are here, there's like, it's time for a name change that really matches this new awareness and what we'd really like. It was like, let's declare it, as my mother would say. I lo declaro. Yes. And so we're declaring it. We're going to soar beyond definition. And we want to make sure that this is really inclusive. So we don't have the term of fantastical creature, which I will talk about a little bit more, be a barrier at all to people joining and connecting with each other. When in these times right now when people are feeling very isolated and maybe not feeling like they have as much of a sense of purpose, or they're not really sure what they want their lives to be like, because what they were planning and what they were choosing and what they had available to them has changed. And now what is available beyond any definition, beyond separation, beyond all of the freak out that many are choosing right now. So that's kind of the background of the name change. I'd love to pause, and for those of you that have been in the group for however long you've been in the group, what have you gotten from the group so far? If you wouldn't mind putting in the chat or unmuting yourself, I'd love to hear that. Somebody asking too. Okay, cool. Okay, so some of you were telling me that that you like that you don't feel like you have to choose one modality by being in the group, that there's not any one system that you have to choose. Some people have mentioned that they, how do I put this? The energy of it is just so like, I know. that they're getting reacquainted with tools and energies and modalities that they had hidden away, or that they had played with before and had maybe some not so great experiences with. And now they're getting to know of it in a way that's maybe more accessible, more inclusive, more joyful. So there's that. We have in the chat, oh, great one, I love it. How much possibility beyond what I was even aware of is there now? Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. I'd love for us to keep being more aware, and yet I also like that awareness to come and show up with ease. I think a lot of us have been noticing, be it ourselves, our loved ones, or the people, or other people that we know, really shutting down and hiding away with the pandemic, with all the stuff showing up in the world, with a lot of the politics and the in the news and things like that, with a lot of the natural occurrences, the hurricanes and the earthquakes. You know, my family, and some of you have heard me talk about this, how they're in Puerto Rico, and some of them have been quite impacted by the hurricanes and earthquakes there. And we've had hurricanes by where I live. And so at least tropical storms that they threaten will be hurricanes. I just talk to the hurricanes, and it sometimes goes and changes into something else. You should definitely not do that. It's too much fun, especially when it's like, ooh, and it's in your body and you're like, oh, and then you feel like you're in the eye of the storm, and it's just, ooh, it's so juicy goosey. But that's my kind of fun. I'm really weird, so don't do it. And so I'm really glad to know that that's provided that kind of a space for you all to get to know these gifts and capacities that you've had before, that you've played with before. We created the Phantastical Shamanism class that took place in August, because somebody, I believe in Italy, asked for it after doing the taster that we did in the spring. And they were like, I didn't realize shamanism could be so accessible, and I didn't have to study years and years and years before I can call myself a shaman. And so it invites all of us to recognize the things that we could identify with without defining ourselves as that, and like being only that. Like, yeah, I'm a shaman, I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm all of it. Like, we're all of it. And there's a lot of these labels that we've kind of either resisted and completely blocked away, because we think that that's only has to be a certain thing or a certain way. And there's also ones that we've latched onto so hard that it's put us in a box. And what if there wasn't either of those, or the only two options? Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for being willing to have these conversations and be vulnerable and look at the places where you might have had, you know, not pleasant experiences or not as honoring of experiences you would have liked, and still going there anyway and being like, well, if you put the word fantastical in front of it, then what is that? And so fantastical and how it shows up, it actually, I was having a conversation with my good friend Sailor Shining Star, and we created the first Phantastical Creature class, which was called The Elegance of Being a Fantastical Creature. And that was, I want to say, like May of 2019. And some of you are on that call that are listening to this now or in the future. And we quickly realized, wow, this is so much more than this one little call and this one little class. And we even were like, oh, let's just have it for fun. I think we charged like $17 for it. If you guys want it, like, I'll just give it to you. Like, I'll talk to Sailor, it's fine. But like, it was this whole thing of, okay, fantastical with a PH. So there's this energy of the seen and unseen, of these things that so many of us are aware of and so many people are not willing to talk about. It's like, la la. It's all banging up against here, and yet, no, let's not talk about it, right? And so that's the phantom part, the seen and unseen. And then fantastic, because y'all are all fantastic. And what if we could actually be fantastic and joyful and have way more fun with our awareness of the seen and unseen? And then all, A-L at the end, but it's actually A-L-L. It's a silent second L. It's like invisible. It's like the unseen L. Yeah. And it's all of us together in every aspect of who we are with our bodies as a part of this space. And so that's where fantastical comes from. When we translate it, we usually have it with an F for all the different languages, but in English, it's spelled with a PH. And that's what we are going to continue to play with, if you'd like, in the Soaring Beyond Definition group, where we're really inviting all of us to continue to acknowledge things that we're currently aware of and that we've always been aware of in the unseen, and then how they can actually keep piggybacking off of each other and augmenting and enhancing what we're experiencing in the seen world as well. So it's going to go and actually like be no definition and no separation between these worlds. I don't even see them as two worlds anymore. It's like multiple worlds all happening at the same time, and there's like layers and layers and layers. And I had this conversation with Caroline. I'm going to acknowledge you, Caroline. Caroline Morris is one of my Fantastical Creature crew members. And so, hi, Caroline. And she's also my oracle, for lack of a better word. She's actually beyond an oracle. She's just divine. And she does a lot of the transcription for our academy classes and is hosting our Party of Possibility in Scotland with Peter Haley. Hi, Peter, honey. And so Caroline, we're talking about veils. Remember, Caroline? We were talking about these veils, and this was probably like a year ago. I mean, when we were first creating classes in the UK and everything. And it's like more and more and more, not only these really tapped into energy folk like us are we recognizing that these veils and these separations are going, but it's getting to the point where it's so loud and obvious that even if the people who haven't ever really played with energy in a conscious way, they can't even ignore it. It's just, they're disappearing. So with the living and dying body process, I remember really being hesitant to call it, to even talk about it before, because anytime I talked about death and dying just in my own life, people were like, yeah. And I would be like very irreverent about it. I would just be like, is this really that big a deal? Like, okay, I guess this is a big deal. And I wanted to call it the death mage body process, because that's really what it's inviting us to be, is to acknowledge us as death mages, where we're completely aware of living, dying, life, destruction, killing, all of that, and yet we get to outcreate it. We get to look at that and be aware of it in people's bodies and their lives, and then be very clear on those who really would like to live. If you really would like to live, inviting them to do that their way. That's what a death mage does, and we'll talk about more about that in the living and dying body process class. But I was talking to Caroline about this, and it was just so refreshing, because she was just like, let's do it. Let's talk about it. We were going to do like a dancing with death class and all these different things in the UK. It can still happen. The class is live. We're going to be happening soon. It's just, it was so great to talk about this. And these are the conversations that we can have when we're willing to like not make things that big a deal. So, and what else? Like, I can talk about anything and everything. And that's part of how I feel like we just scratched the surface and the things that we can cover in this group. We've talked about sex, we've talked about dating and relationships. We've had some replays for the Kink Your Way. If you want that replay, let me know. It's just, what would you like? What would you like? Y'all are so quiet. I'm gonna pause. Mm-hmm. This is a yummy jasmine tea, and it's one of my favorites. Can you perceive how happy my body is drinking it? Mm-hmm. You know what we haven't done, and we were going to do it in Italy, was stuff with food. Is that pinging for anyone still? We've posted a lot of recipes and things in our play space. Yeah. Tell me, you want to cook?
I'm doing that just now.
Oh, that's what you're doing literally right now?
Yeah, no. Yeah, family of foodies. We just,
What about family?
yeah, family. No, they don't have that one. I'll cook damn near anything. Um,
Awesome.
and I'm willing to, I play with food. The kitchen's a chemistry lab for me. Throw things together, see what happens. If it's good, it's good. If it's not so good,
He's a Latino or
I'll eat it.
Latina.
I'll eat it anyway. Yeah, yeah. Food for me also. Um, I use it as a form of healing, medicine, my food and my drink. I'm very aware of what I require, my body requires for any kind of small bugs or ailments or things that you're going to get, seasonal colds.
Yeah.
How to sort that.
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
moment we've got the cats some of the cats have had a flea bite, so we made an antihistamine.
Mm.
And at the moment, I just feel that one of them has got a sort of an allergy to that, which can happen sometimes. So another thing, though, that Siris, you haven't mentioned is the relationship class and the relationship of everything to everything that is coming up shortly too.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects, y'all. I mean, and I will speak to that. Thank you for reminding me. This is so grateful for you. My goodness, it's like an extra external hard drive with y'all. Um, just to finish the thought, or to add to the point about the food, what if we did like cooking all of us together at the same time? So finding, like, it's lunch in one time zone and it's dinner in another one, it's breakfast in another, whatever, or it could be a snack that you're preparing and we're all just eating and enjoying with each other. And I could showcase a Puerto Rican dish, or just a whatever dish I like to cook, because I cook all different kinds of food. Tom, my boyfriend, loves to cook. I call him the chef. I was like, hey, okay, hey chef, I'm the sous chef, he's the chef. So I could try to convince him and see if he wants to showcase some of his cooking. He does pasta from scratch and things like that, as well. So it seems like that's another great way for us to be in each other's homes, and share space and be space with each other and have that joy and camaraderie that can be with cooking. And what Peter said, I love that, what you said, Peter, about it being this medicine. And when you're willing to be aware of what your body's asking for, what would be nurturing and kind to it and what won't. It reminds me, Jenny, of our conversations around that as well, right? And, so it's just, there's a lot possible with that. I think that would be really fun. If nothing else, even just having like a week where we just post a whole bunch of yummy food that nurtures our bodies and reminds us of the seen and unseen, of what's fantastical about the world and us. I think that might be fun. So we can have that as a prompt for one of the weeks. With the group also, every week there are winners and giveaways. And so you get a chance to win a free session with me. It's a 45-minute free session. And it's anywhere from any of the modalities I mentioned, I think a couple of other ones as well. So just know that that's a possibility. It's like the more you post, the more you invite people to the group, the more you're engaged in showing your enthusiasm for the group, and that you're using and considering these things and really honoring yourself and your body. I just pull a name out of the hat and you get the chance to win. And with the month of August, we actually had 2 winners every week that was announced on Sundays. And we're going to go back to 1 winner a week in September now. But let's see, maybe you could win another free session. So yes, Caroline mentioned the relationships group. So we have Exuberantly You in Sex, Dating, and Relationships. That's going to be starting November 11th. And that's group coaching, because I do relationship coaching. And that's going to be amazing. It's just 1 call, 2 hours every month. So very low commitment. You get the audio replays of it. We're going to be talking about all these different things, from abuse and neglect to dating narcissists to having orgasmic living, actually including pleasure in your life. You don't have to have any particular relationship dynamic or relationship at all to anybody else to be in that group. And it's just at empoweringlightlanguage.com/exuberantlyu. But with that one, what we've been delving into is a lot of people in the Money Your Way group and in the Phantastical Creature Playspace, when it was called that, we're asking for more tools and information about relationships. And one of the things that has come to the foreground very loudly for people with the quarantine and the pandemic was their relationships. When all of a sudden you're not able to be around the people in the same ratio of time as you're used to, or you're in the home with everybody, all the things you might have gotten to the wayside before, you can't ignore it because they're like in your face, and it's a lot harder to ignore now. And so people are wanting some more tools so they can have ease, or they're realizing, oh wow, this relationship is not working for me at all. What else could I have? Or I have no relationship with myself, and it's very hard for me to be by myself so much. If those that have had no family in their home, and then they're all of a sudden having to spend every day, all day by themselves, they're realizing that they don't have hobbies, they don't have interests, they don't know how to be with themselves joyfully. And what if they could? And so we're going to be addressing that and more. in that group. And like I said, it's just one call for 2 hours every month, and it starts November 11th. I'm getting messages here. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a potluck party with international food and food with a PH. I love it. I love it. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. So who invited you to the group? Like, I'm curious about that. Did I invite you? Did one of the crew members invite you? Another friend? It seems to be kind of a mix for a lot of the people that are in there, but for those that are on live, I'm kind of curious. Or is this the first time you're hearing about the group? And then hi and welcome. First time, hi, yay. Okay, welcome. Cool, yeah, so the actual link for the group, that might be helpful if this is new for you, is facebook.com/groups/Phantastical Creature Playspace. Some people are invited by the crew members, cool. So we have a few of them on here live, and then there's a few missing. We're a very international crew. I created this space with Sailor, and then she just chose to part ways to honor herself a couple months after we started, maybe September, October. And then she's still in the play space and contributes in other ways, but doesn't create the calls with us so much. And then Caroline and Peter are part of the crew, and they're in Scotland. And then Loredana Gaspari is in Italy. Severine Latour is in France. Christine Servietti is also in France. Cecilia Alonso Carvajal is in Argentina. And Kay Murillo, she's in the Chicagoland area of Illinois right now, on her way to Oregon soon, I hope. I'm so excited for you, Kay, wherever you are. So, am I missing anyone? I feel bad if I'm missing anyone. There's been a lot of in and out and moving pieces, but that's kind of the current crew right now. And if you're interested in joining the crew, let us know. I feel like everyone, if you're in the play space and engaged in there, you're kind of like honorary crew members, because our calls are really co-created by everyone that's on them, and definitely the spaces, the group is from people inviting other people and showing their enthusiasm. So yeah, so for the new people, what are your questions? What would you like to know? Mm. Mm. I'm gonna take my tea bag out.
Also, I would like to say, it's like, how can we contribute to making this a better place for us all to live without having to be wary of each other and stand back from each other and be too scared to be in the same space? It just makes me want to weep that people are so frightened of everybody now. You can't touch anything that anybody else has touched. You have to wipe everything down, sanitize all the time. And I'm working in a school, and it's every time you walk into a classroom, every time you walk out, you have to sanitize everything you touch. Even a pen, you can't give the kids any books, you can't give them any rulers, you can't give them any pens. And it just makes me want to weep. And when you walk approaching a person, they sidestep to really give you a wide berth. And it makes me want to weep when I look at how the world is. Where is that connection that we are built for?
Yeah.
So what can I do to make it more a better space for everybody?
Well, one thing, and thank you for that, because it's so prevalent right now, is to get out of significance about it. Like, I'm working in the schools too. I'm working with kids. They're still snotty and want to sneeze, and they also need hugs, right? And by me being this space of joy, even with their parents freaking out and stress, and even when their teachers are really stressed, it really helps them know that that's still okay for them to choose it, even though the adults in their lives maybe aren't. So, what were the things that you did and you chose and you were being with your body with before the pandemic that that superseded separation. Like before the pandemic and now, I'm still like, hi, you can still wave. Or I'm like, I'm giving you a hug right now. How many times have I on Zoom calls with you all? I'm like, And are you not perceiving some of the yum? And if you're not, I'm sending more your way because I'm going to ramp it up then. You know, like it's about ramping up that joy and ramping up the oosey goosey and not making, yes, our bodies are asking for touch. But when I invite people to touch their bodies as if I'm the one touching their bodies, it's not the same, but it's something, and everything, it adds up. And my kids get that. So when I talk to the kids that I work with about, oh, you know, hey, kiss your brain. You're doing such a great job. Oh my God. They're like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm gonna kiss my brain. Absolutely. You know, they don't, when we make it significant and heavy and like go into that reality of everyone else, then it's harder for them not to as well.
Okay. Right.
So I'll do the wipe downs. And then I'm like, And then I'll even make a joke about it. It's like, it's so stinky, guys. I am so sorry. Oh my gosh. And we'll do a dance and wave the fumes away because I'm really sensitive to smells. I always have been. And so once in a while, cleaning my house once a week was already enough fumes, let alone constantly having to wipe down all the stuff all the time. And so having the open air. And so I'll make it really like silly dramatic, like let's open a window, you know, like, and do this whole thing. And they crack up and they get out of this like, oh my God, this is such a big deal. Or we'll take turns and do like a weird different dance of how we do the wipe downs or a song along with it, you know. And by the way, I don't do this just with the kids. I do this with the adults too, because it's almost like they need it more. And they'll judge, it's a way, they'll judge you so much. Are you willing to be judged? Because they're like, this lady is crazy. How dare she be happy when this and this and this is going on? And I'm like, I know, I am crazy. Yes, because I'm choosing happy, and happiness is crazy, isn't it? But I'd rather be crazy and happy than miserable and fearful right now. But you do what you want. I love you anyway. And I go and I walk away. Okay. So how much more flitty, flatty, fairy energy of it can you be so that you could to invite the few or maybe more that you're maybe not perceiving because you're focusing on the ones that are like, right? I'm like, who are the yes people? Where are the joyful people? I'm going to flow more energy to them. Those are my tribe. That's what the Soaring Beyond definition space is about, is all these crazy, weird, different people that want to play with energy, want to be aware of the unseen, want to like play with bodies no matter where they are in the world, are choosing transliteration and astral projection and talking to fairies and trolls and dwarves and noticing, oh, I actually kind of have a horn coming out of my head like a unicorn right now. I'm literally peeling right now. And I was like, oh, it's my horn coming out. And just like not really making it a big deal. So every time that you get into, oh, it's so sad and it's so this, you're defining it as sad. You're defining it as, oh, this is horrible. And I invite you to get out of that definition of it's sad and it's horrible. Like, what's really here? And what can I choose here? And how much more fantastical can I be with all of this? What is all the unseen stuff that is asking for me to whisper to it, that is looking for my joy and my light and my energy in the world? And then go to that and find those people and then have a freaking party. Yeah. I have like a potluck game night over here coming up, and like actually the day after our Living and Dying Body Process class, I'm gonna like rock it out and have some food and we play games and all of that. And yeah, there's definitely a different group of people that are choosing it than before the pandemic. A lot of the folk that would come to the house before, there's a mix. Some people that came before and some people are new. And yet, instead of fixating, and I've talked about this in the academy, right? Like, instead of fixating on the people that all of a sudden weren't showing up anymore, I was like, well, who's the new people? Who are the people that would like to show up and still play? And then whenever the other ones are ready, I'll be here. That's it. Not everyone's going to be ready yet. Well, let's choose the joy and the living exuberantly anyway. Yeah. Thanks for that question. Does that help at all? Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Gosh. So, party. Yes. Okay. So, we have all these special guests in the academy, and the people who are in the academy get to have these tasters from people all over the world, from like a laughter yoga that's coming up. We have a body magic class. We've had acoustic sound healing. Caroline did a wonderful, fantastical art taster. We have Ayurveda, an Ayurveda and yoga special guest coming in. If you know Lisa Bennett, she's coming in and doing space whispering. We have John Ashford that's going to be talking about time travel, and he's also has a food channel now on YouTube, speaking of food. So we have Tomas, who's going to be doing an Akashic Records taster. So just a lot of things. I don't try to control or do all of the modalities. I have a ton of tools in my tool belt, and I'm always looking to learn more. And so that's part of what you all add to the group and what these special guests are adding to the academy. And then at the end of the academy, at least this year's version of it, we have 6 months of the academy, and we're doing like a New Year's Eve kind of like a masquerade ball thing, so we can all, and you don't have to be in the academy to go to this party, but we're announcing it now. Be on the lookout for the dates. And so we're gonna have just a Zoom where all of us can dress up or come as we are, and as to whatever fantastical creature you'd like to be that day. And so I will definitely be dressing up, and maybe I'll have multiple costumes, with, like, you know, the segment 1, segment 2, and I just go and ring. And so I'll bring my cocktails, and if you guys want to have cocktails, go ahead. And we're just gonna like sing and dance and comment on each other's stuff and just talk and see what shows up. And so just know that that's something to look forward to. I'm telling you all now, I'm giving you the long view, you futurists, so that you know that it's coming, and it can be something that you can anticipate and maybe put in your calendar. I think we were talking about doing it around like December 28th was a tentative date, but we will see. We will post that in our group, and we'll announce it by email as well when we have those dates finalized. We're coordinating all of our translators to make sure that they are all available too. Okay, so I think that'll be really fun. What do you think? And then the last thing, yeah, thank you so much for all of you that are registered or signed up for the Living and Dying Body Process class. It is a week from tomorrow. And let's keep out creating it. I know some of you are frustrated with some of the governmental separation stuff that they're doing, and maybe not being able to travel as much as you are. I talked to someone in Florida yesterday, and I was like, hey, you know, get your kids. The kids can come. That's the other body to swap with, and then they're free. Or you can have your partners, your clients, your coworkers, your lovers, whoever, just find somebody else to swap with. If they are adults, they do have to pay as well, but this class is going to be freaking amazing. And for those of you, this is going to be the first one, and you're going to help us create the manual. And this is going to be something that it already is something that is changing lives. You might have seen the post that I did earlier this week. In less than a week, I've had over 50 bookings for 20-minute sample sessions of the Living and Dying Body process. I'm offering it, and if you haven't gotten yours, please let me know. I'm still doing it. But basically, it's this idea that there's so many people that are messaging me that they've been suicidal, that they've been really shut down, that they've been hiding away, that they're really feeling like they're ghosts, even though they're in a body. Like they feel like phantoms. They're like, I don't know, I'm just kind of like walking in the halls of my house, ooh, not really knowing what to do. And I was like, I get it. And so one of the things that this body process does is it actually helps you feel more enlivened, gives you clarity on what you can actually do and choose to create your life, instead of keep basing it off of all these other things that you were planning your life was going to be like before all of this. And there's some people that it wasn't really about the quarantine or the pandemic at all. They just, other life circumstances have changed. And then you can have more ease with those changes by being willing to acknowledge your unique gifts and capacities with living and dying, what you're aware of people who are killing their bodies and destroying their futures. And if you're someone that actually would like to not do that, then this assists with that and facilitates for you to be clear on what to do to have that your way. So really excited. Yes, the shedding those veils. It's like we're molting, which is like the 4th month of the academy, right? We're doing the shape shifting and the metamorphs. So very excited about that. And we have possibly another pop coming up in London. So if we get the confirmation on that, we'll let you know. There might be another hub of people that you can swap with in London, but Peter and Caroline have their space available where you can have other bodies to swap with in Scotland. And then we have my hub here in Savannah, Georgia, of people that are going to be swapping. So those are the ones that we know of right now. And what else is possible? What else can show up between now and, gosh, a week? Yeah. Anything else before we part ways? Any other questions or any other comments about soaring beyond definition? Are you willing to soar beyond definition?
So if nobody else is going to say anything, can I just kind of share about my 20-minute session?
Yeah, sure.
So I've suddenly realized only today, my vision's been very blurry for the last 10 days. And today I was suddenly aware that my vision after my session, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, is back to normal. Absolutely back to normal. And when I was at work, the day after I'd had my session, I thought I was having a heart attack. Honestly, I was in so much pain, I could hardly move. And I did wonder how I was actually going to get off my seat and do the rest of the day's work. And I was really quite concerned, but I just stayed very quiet and I just breathed and breathed and breathed, and it absolutely just dissipated. So whatever I was releasing there was absolutely physically really very, very painful. It was excruciating. But it went within 10-15 minutes and it was just phenomenal, actually. So I want to thank you so much for your generosity.
You're welcome. And one thing I'd like to acknowledge you for with that is that you are willing to be quiet with it and not resist the change. That's part of what kind of locks it in more again. That you were like, something's shifting and it's really intense and painful. And then you want to kind of push it away. And you were willing to be like, okay, something's moving, let me just be with it. And then it was able to shift even faster. So thank you for being willing to do that. And I think that's part of what's going on right now in the world is a lot of people are resisting this change and going into the freak out instead of kind of having those quiet moments and being really present and then asking the question of, okay, now what can I choose? Right?
But it's the power, the possibility is so powerful if we just choose, you know? So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for that. You know, it brings me up. There's a couple people that have had their vision change for the better after the living, dying body process. Somebody that got a full session here in Savannah told me that she actually didn't need to use her glasses anymore. She hasn't needed to use her glasses anymore since having just one session. So there's a lot of fun anecdotals and testimonials, like people's having skeletal changes. And there's a video where I kind of talk about all the different testimonials that I'd heard up until that point. And there's even more things that I'm hearing now. So I'm just so grateful that people are willing to receive it, that they're willing to have these conversations, and that we get to, as we get more and more practitioners, this is something that can help more and more people feel enlivened and really connect to how they could live, how they can create their lives their way instead of based on anybody else's points of views about life and living. Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to call it there. If you have any other questions, for those of you that are listening to this and watching this later, feel free to message me or message any of the Phantastical Creature crew members that you know. Go ahead and post it in the group too. I'm going to pop this video into our group for you to enjoy. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing to be on this planet. Thanks for the comment, and the comment in the chat says, what else can we change with this process? Yeah. And how many more people can we invite to living, to truly living? And so give yourself a squeeze. You see, I'm practicing what I was just saying. Yes. Thank you for the squeezes and the hugs. You see, I'm receiving it all. Until next time. Bye.